Hello, great people, grade 12s. We are still revising. We are still looking at the paper 1 on normal pattern. Remember, we managed to find in our previous section the pattern or the general term for the pattern to be this one. And the follow-up question is this: which term of the sequence will be equal to 10,201? So which term is supposed to be equal to that? Which term are we talking about in this one? So it means this must be equal to that. Then because of this square, you take a square root of both sides. If you take square root of both sides, you are going to have this. Then you transpose minus 1 to be plus 1. Then you divide both sides by 2. Because if you add this, you are going to get 102. And if you divide both sides by 2, you are going to get 51. So the term is supposed to be what? 51. So 51 term. Then the next question says, the first 24 terms of an arithmetic series are this. When we talk of series, it's a sum of sequence. So you have a sequence, if you add them, it becomes series. So they are saying it's arithmetic, and anytime you hear of arithmetic, you think of a common difference. So the question says, calculate the sum of all the natural numbers from 35 to 196 that are not divisible by 7. So first, we are going to find the sum of the first n terms, or which is the sum of all the terms given here. How many terms? 24. Alright, so here our n, here we are finding the sum of the first 24 terms. Here n is 24, and our a is 35, and our last term is what? 196. And if you press this on the calculator, you are going to get this one. Then the number of terms for this sequence: 35, 42, 49. They said it's 24. Alright, but we want the number of terms for all the natural numbers between 35 and 196. What is that going to be? Is the last term between this and all the natural numbers in between. Remember, natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. So from here, like 36, 37, etc. Alright, because the question is looking for the sum of all natural numbers from 35 to this that are not divisible by 7. So the natural numbers in between 35, from 35 to 96, some are divisible by 7, others are not divisible by 7. Is that okay? So here, what we need to do is, we are going to find the number of terms, the number of natural numbers between 35 to 196. And how do you find that? Is the upper limit, which is 196, minus the lower limit, which is 35, plus 1. So you have 162 terms. So this 162 terms, we are going to use it to find the natural numbers, all the natural numbers from 135 to 196. So we still use this formula. If you find it, if you use your calculator, you are going to get this. Then we want the numbers that are divisible by 7. The sum of numbers that are divisible, that are not divisible by 7. Remember, the sum of numbers that are divisible by 7 let me put it here, plus the sum of numbers that are not divisible by 7 plus the sum of natural numbers that are divisible by 7 should give you all the sum of natural numbers. Should give you what? Natural numbers. So what are we looking for? We want the sum of natural numbers that are not divisible by 7. Alright, so you transpose the sum of natural numbers that are divisible by 7 to this side. We have already found that one. We know the sum of natural numbers. This is the sum of all all natural numbers between 35 to 196. We found that one, so that is this one. Then the sum of natural numbers that are divisible by 7, we also found it there. Let me split it for you to see. That are divisible by 7. Let's get it here. We found it here at the top here. Let's find it at the top. The sum of natural numbers that are divisible by 7. That is what we found here to be 2772. Alright, these are natural numbers that are divisible by what? 7. So these are the ones that were given. So here, let's check whether they are divisible. These ones are divisible by 7 or they are not divisible by 7. Let's use our calculator. Casio. What are numbers that are divisible by 7? 7 can divide without a remainder. Alright, so let's use our calculator here. Now let's check the first one. 35 divided by 7 without a remainder, 5. Let's check the second one. 42 divided by 7 without a remainder, so it's divisible by 7. Let's check the next one. 49 divided by 7, it's also 7. Alright, so these numbers are all natural numbers that are divisible by 7, and we found it. We found the sum of all those numbers using this formula. They were 24. If you even check the last term, let's check it whether it's divisible by 7. 196 divided by 7, what does it give you? 28. So you check all of it, that they are all divisible by what? 7. So if I transpose this to this, it's going to subtract. So you are going to have the formula this way. Natural numbers that are not divisible by 7 will be equal to the sum of all natural numbers minus the sum of natural numbers that are divisible by 7. So when you substitute, you are going to get this value. Alright, then let's look at the next question. It says, consider the following geometric. Now geometric has a common ratio. So this is a geometric sequence. It's a series because it's addition of all the sequence. So we have this geometric series. This is a sequence. If you add them, it becomes a series. And it's up to infinity because of this 3 dots. Now the question says, for which value of x will the series converge? You know, for the series to converge, r must be in between -1 and 1. So the first thing we need to do is to find the common ratio. How do you find the common ratio? You divide them. They said it's a geometric ratio, so just take the first one, this divided by that. Alright, and if you simplify, this will cancel, this will take 1 of that, so you have 3x plus 1. So our common ratio is 3x plus 1, and this common ratio must fall in between -1 and 1. So if you substitute it there, we need to find x, because the question says find the value of x. So for it to converge, you transpose this 1 to this side, is going to be minus. You must do the same here, so it's also going to be what? Minus. Remember, this is the minus, so this is going to give you -2, and this will give you 0. Then you divide both sides by 3. So if you divide by 3, this is going to give you -2/3 and 0. So x will lie between -2/3 and 0 for the series to converge. Then the question says, calculate the sum to infinity of the series if x is equal to -1/6. What are we going to do? Now we have our common ratio. To calculate the sum to infinity, we need r. Remember, there is a variable x in this, so we have to find the value of r. So, and we're giving x to be -1/6, so if you substitute, we are going to get 1/2, and this r is going to be 1/2. Then you need to substitute into the value. Into, we have our first term, we can substitute into the first term, which is a, because the question is looking for sum to infinity. A sum to infinity, we need the first term, we need a, because in the formula there exists a, we need a. So what are we going to do now? With a, we know x is equals to 6, x is equals to -1/6, so you substitute it there. Remember, a is this, so 3, our x, you put -1/6 there, and when you simplify, you are going to get 5/2. Then you use this formula. Our a is 5/2, 1 minus our r. Remember, we found our r to be 1/2. So when you substitute, we are going to get 5. Let me show you r. Let me just show you r. What we had for r there, it was 1/2. This is our r. We calculated it. So sum to infinity is 5. Then the question continues to say that determine the smallest value of k for which this if k is an integer.